Hey everyone, it's Catherine, and welcome to this talk about the 8/8 portal of August 8th, 2024, which it's open. We're right in the thick of it right now. And even though these energies, we're leading up to the Lionsgate portal apex on August 8th, now is really a great time to do an inner inventory of where you're choosing to step back from the fullness of your power. And it's a good time to evaluate if you're thinking more about life more than you're actually living it. So there's going to be some reminders in here, and I'm going to keep this up because it's kind of evergreen content, we call it, because even though this is a potent reminder for you at this particular time of the year, this is a great reminder and refresher in your energy anytime you find this video. So here are some things to reflect on as you experience the universe kind of nudging you forward towards taking inspired action to realize more of your greatness, your genius, your fullness, and everything that makes you this unique snowflake frequency of being. Okay, so let's get into it. So here's something to think about. Where are you still ruminating on where things went wrong? At some point in your life, maybe at several points in your life, you are constantly casting your energy back to the past based on where things went wrong. And it creates a kind of story of you that you keep reliving, whether it's conscious or unconscious. If you ever find yourself saying, oh shit, this again, or God, I thought I went through this already. There is a crow right outside my window, as always happens when I start doing these recordings. So I'm sorry if that's annoying. I really don't want to stop this talk. Maybe he's saying things that are going to help activate this content even further. Who knows? But if you're noticing those times in your life where maybe it's coming up in echoes more and more than you would like, where you feel like, oh my God, this old chestnut, I thought I cleared this. I thought I dealt with this particular theme or whatever. You might be spending too much energy focusing on where you have this perception that something failed, that you failed, or life failed you, or someone failed you. And this becomes your story, and it becomes a consciousness loop and a timeline that you kind of tangle yourself in unnecessarily. And you use it to justify, to keep yourself from moving forward. So it's a good time to take an inner inventory anywhere you're doing that. And this old story of you is becoming a navigation point of your life. Another thing to think about, where you still think your purpose, your life purpose, your soul purpose is primary to what you do instead of who you be. Now, if you've been in my orbit for a while, I talk about this quite a bit. Your purpose has everything to do with the frequency that you hold in this lifetime that's wrapped up and enmeshed in all of the genius gifts of who you are. It's divine will and spirit finding itself through you as a specific frequency in order to express itself. There would be no reason to create anyone ever that is just like you, because a singular expression or a fractal of the genius of the entire cosmos, of the all that is, projected through you, reflected through your life experience, is exquisite. It's beautiful. It's singular. There will never be another you. There will never be anyone ever like you. So stop thinking of purpose as some grandiose thing that you do. Just be. Be who you are in the most authentic and genuine way you know how, with what you are emanating right now in your everyday life. How you speak, how you hold yourself, how you treat other people, how you look at problems or challenges in your life and say, you know what, I could see this as something where I might be doomed to fail again, or I could see this as an opportunity to turn my old story around completely. So just understand that your purpose, especially in the way the greater infinite intelligence sees it, is you being you. There'd be no point in making two of you. The universe experiencing itself through you is an exquisite and bespoke and wonderfully unique and signature experience that you and you alone can only reflect back to the information field of the all that is. So don't let yourself get bogged down by ideas of what you should be doing. Simply you being is you in your purpose. And the more authentic and genuine that feels to you, the more you hold a truth in how you express yourself and hold yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you communicate and set the edges or the boundaries for how you want to be treated, you're going to be more and more in your purpose. Another thing to think about, you know that there's small changes that you can be making every day. A lot of us get bogged down in thinking like, I have to make a big change. And because we're so overwhelmed by that, because it can blow out our nervous system when we think that way, we just end up doing nothing. So when you make small changes, what you have to understand is, we go sideways with this idea of the quantum leap and these big, grandiose, massive shifts in our life. But honestly, and myself included, many of us on this planet, we don't have nervous systems that can handle that great leap of change. It's about the incremental. When we think about quanta, we actually are talking about incremental, infinitesimal, microscopic, tiny. So even the smallest change that you make, and we're reminded by this through antiquity, through some of the greatest minds, ascended masters, whatever you want to call them, Stoics, that one small change creates massive change, sometimes in ways that we can't see. Trust that. Trust that the small changes that you're making, they're going to affect how you think about yourself, how you might be unnecessarily and unkindly judging yourself right now. Sometimes we make changes to stay busy. Sometimes we do it and it's actually more of a distraction. So make sure that you're very clear on what it is that you want to see as a overturning of the tide, or an uprooting of maybe old habits and behaviors. Do you want to see them gone, or do you want to take that energy and repurpose into something that you prefer to experience now? What does that look like? Be clear on what that is. And all you have to concern yourself with is taking small changes, one day at a time. Okay. And if you're not excited enough to do anything about making changes that take you in the direction you prefer to be going, don't get bogged down in that either. We're living in a time of great overwhelm because we have such accelerated change on this planet. So if you feel there's a day like, I don't want to overwhelm my nervous system, the best thing I can do for myself right now is relax, go for a walk, be in nature, pet my dog, go throw the ball to my dog in the backyard, play with my cat, get out the laser pointer and go crazy, dance around naked in your living room. Be kind with yourself as you initiate change, because that sends a message to your nervous system that like, hey, we're okay. We're okay if we take those small initiatives here today, and we're okay if we don't, as long as we don't stay stagnant in any one energy. Okay. Here's another thing to consider. Anywhere you're still playing the unworthiness game, thinking that some force outside of you is holding you back. That's also called the victimhood game. Or where you think that all the great stuff that you want to receive in this life, that somehow you're not deserving of it, that somehow you've been a bad person, that somehow you're not good enough, that somehow you don't measure up. Stop comparing yourself to outside comparisons, to outside things that are operating at a completely different frequency than you are. It's true. Yes, we are all one. It's true that separation is an illusion. But when we start getting into the inner workings of the mind and asking it the wrong questions in terms of what you want your mind to focus on to move you towards more of what you prefer, your mind will just go back to echoes of the past. It'll go back to ways of looped consciousness, ruminating of your thoughts, chewing on things that actually aren't helpful to you at all. And they keep you pinpointed and pointed towards the direction of your past. That's not your true north. Your true north is what you are focused on and what you prefer to receive in your experience. Believe me when I say you are incredibly supported in whatever you choose to experience. If you choose to experience the same echoes and patterns of thoughts that keep you bogged down in unnecessary and unkind thoughts about yourself, the universe will support you in that. If you choose to think wonderful things and ask powerful questions like, what would it be like if, and then insert whatever is your most preferable experience in there. What if it manifested now? What if everything I experienced up until now could change in an instant to reflect more of what I prefer? Believe me, your mind will help you navigate towards whatever energy that you want to put your focus and attention on. So choose wisely, especially now. We're in this very fiery portal. You're going to get a lot of assistance, a lot of support in whatever you decide to think about yourself. So make it something, yes, lofty, crazy. Make it so out there and wild that it doesn't even make sense. The more you play with this, you'll find the more interesting support comes in to kind of hold you aloft in these energies and then kind of float you and merge you into a different direction, into a different timeline. Anything and anywhere as you're participating, or anytime you're participating in ways of downplaying or minimizing or compromising on what your heart truly desires, what you really want to experience now. One familiar way a lot of us do this is saying, I don't know what I really want. Sorry, but I'm going to call bullshit on that. In going on almost a quarter of a century and working with people on helping them fine tune their desires, tap into their genius, tap into what true divine will wants to experience through you, when you merge yourself with the energy of the heart, what's really in your heart, what do you really want to experience? What would it feel like to really experience that? Is it relief? Is this kind of just overwhelming feeling of having your cup not even half full, but your cup flowing over with incredible experiences and resources and help and people coming into your life that are aligned with the things that you value, the things that you think give you meaning for life, and you're forming alliances with people. You feel that life is maybe in an unexplainable way more of a collaborative experience than it ever was, where things just kind of seamlessly add to what you prefer. Things show up in your life before you can even articulate what you prefer. Something shows up and like, wow, I really like that. I never even thought to bring this into my experience, yet here it is. And now it's part of my concretized reality. Instead of saying, I don't know what I really want, try something simple, like asking yourself a direction that gives a different set of marching orders to your mind. Remember, your mind is a navigator. You're the pilot. You and the highest self expression of you. You're the pilot of your life. The mind is just the navigator. And a lot of times we put the power in the hands of the mind to be the pilot and the navigator. It'll just go off of old knowledge. It'll go off of old news. You don't want to do that. You're a genius creator. Why would you just go to a default way of living your life? You want to really see changes? Start asking things like, what if I did know right now what I really want? What if I opened myself up to and surrendered to spirit's direction and divine navigation of my life? What kind of things would I start seeing then? And don't be surprised at what shows up, because you're really excellent, very adept at imagining. You know, we can get very overwhelmed in our interpretations and definitions of what we think is God or godlike. I think God is the imagination. I think imagination and God can be used interchangeably. You may disagree with me on that, and that's fine, but hear me out on this. The reason why we're so excellent at imagining and daydreaming about what we might want to unfold in our lives is because this is the God self at play, imagining what could be. And if you have any kind of awareness of what could be, it exists. It's there. Otherwise, you'd have no awareness of it. So when you allow yourself to play in those energies, and I know a lot of us feel like we have these echoes of when we were little kids and we were told that we were daydreaming too much, or our mind was off in the clouds, or we had this kind of whimsical way about us where we couldn't just get down and be in our bodies and like get to work and do your homework and all this other stuff. We kind of got the message that imagining or daydreaming was bad. It wasn't good. It meant that we weren't contributing or being productive to things in the way we could be. Well, I want to tell you right here and right now that you exploring your God self is directly correlated with you forgetting all that shit, forgetting all those times that you were told you were too much of a daydreamer, and too much of your energy was in the clouds, or you weren't down to earth, or whatever that is. Now is the time, as you embrace this space and this portal, or whenever this message finds you. There are ways for all the pieces that seem overwhelming to you and you don't know how they all fit together. The way they fit together is when you allow time to just sit openly with your own imagination. The divine will kind of, through the atoms of your own consciousness, help you reorder those pieces so that the mind isn't trying to micromanage it and create an order out of something based off of what was, but rather your imagination gets to go to work on something that could be, that in all honesty, in another timeline of you already is. And when you are allowing yourself more time to be in your imagination, you can actually allow yourself to start claiming some of these energies in a different way. You could think of yourself as a divine creator being very easily, and it becomes just an easier and lighter way to think about yourself the more time you allow yourself to just unplug, even if it's for 5 minutes at a time, even if it's for 3 minutes, to just unplug from all the doings. Our life has become kind of an endless list of ticking off boxes. If you can unplug from that and pull back from that long enough, where you give yourself 3 minutes, 5 minutes, a few times throughout your day, and just imagine your highest and best reality, what would that look like for you? What would that be to have an experience of life that you completely prefer? We all know that there's things in this life that we prefer not to experience, and we're really good at dwelling on those, and we can see where that gets us. We can use our imagination to actually not do so well by ourselves, but we can also use that same imagination, that same ability to kind of put things together that maybe don't make sense, to start realizing that, like, this feels good when I'm here. Why does it feel good when I'm here, when I'm playing in these spaces? Because you're experiencing the God within you. And if you're not creating time for that, and if you don't prioritize that, I'm going to ask you the obvious question: why? Are you still going back to that place where you feel like you don't deserve something? You don't deserve to have the very best that life has to offer. So if any of these things hit home for you, just know that this is a very energetically potent time to start shifting one or all of these things. And again, don't strive for big leaps. Reach for small movements. That's what allows us to create something that's the real driving force behind creation. It's momentum. The more we pick up little things and start to work with those, not only do we start to claim more of the energy of our creator status, which is natural and organic to us, life gets to be more fun. We start to play with the things that don't make sense, or at least what the mind is telling us, hey, that doesn't make sense. But our imagination is saying, you just pipe down. You just pipe down. Let's try this on and see what happens. You engage in the forces of life that are playful. Creation is play. So allow yourself time for this. And when you start doing this and these pieces start to come in and fit like puzzle pieces that seemingly didn't fit before because the mind was in control, because the mind thought it was the pilot of your life, then your imagination becomes the pilot of your life. Those pieces get rearranged and reordered, redressed. Maybe some of the pieces go away entirely so that new pieces can come in. And you start to claim your energy as creator in a much more powerful way. You start to trust yourself a little bit more to be the fount of your own support and nourishment and nurturing in this life. And you start to accept that you're a powerful and purposeful being in who you are, and no one and no thing can ever take that away from you. And this kind of alleviates a lot of the fog of confusion and overwhelm. It starts to dissipate. It starts to, once that fog clears, allow a kind of clarity to arrive in your life where you can see more of the things that you don't prefer. And you can start to see and access and start to measure and track more of the things coming in your life that you do prefer. I hope this message finds you well. And if you like this content, I'm going to be doing more exclusive to YouTube content here on my channel, Catherine Massell. So if this is right up your alley, I'm speaking your language, you're jiving with my vibe, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. And I want to wish you the best of blessings. Bye-bye.